Hello super users, so this is a quick wrap up of this module because I think you might have some questions about when you should use the JetStream versus like custom Lua functions or even like the Lua scripts I've created. And also I wanted to really point out that you've learned a whole lot. So this is for the first part. So if you compare the JetStream Finale controller and custom Lua scripts, the couple things you'll really notice is that first off, you'll often get more bug updates and bug fixes with the JetStream Finale controller. There are many more functions. Like I said, there are hundreds that you can use. And it doesn't require you to code, and it's completely free. So as long as you don't mind that little flash of the dialog box, it's a really good way to go, and new features are constantly being added. In contrast with custom Lua, it's typically much faster, like much faster. So fast that you can't even tell it's running. And there are literally limitless possibilities because there's just so much you can do with Lua. And you can also make it highly specific to your workflow. Although if you ever want to create new functions yourself, that will require you to code. So in general, what I do is I use custom Lua scripts for anything I know that it's stable and very common that I'm going to be using all the time. And any part of like the JetStream that's not 100% stable yet, and I'll want bug fixes in the future, I go with the JetStream Finale controller script. But either way, by this point, you have a superpower, and I mean that quite literally, because you can actually use Finale at the speed of thought. That's insanely fast. You're practically at the point where you don't ever have to worry about how you use Finale, you just use it, especially when you create a bunch of macros to fit your own specific workflow. And here's what I mean by that. You've learned a ton of skills through this course. We've started from simple macros, which several of you may have already known about. We've gone through palettes and we've answered the three main questions. Is it worth it? Yes, because these scripts can save you a whole lot of time and frustration. Are we going to need hard shortcuts? No, these actually all require very simple shortcuts. And if you don't like my personal one-letter shortcuts, you can customize it to something that's easier for you to remember. And do you need to remember a lot of things? No, because the palettes have the keyboard shortcuts on them. Then we went on to more complex macros that provided you a ton of skills for how you can actually use Keyboard Maestro. And so from here on out, you can pretty much use Keyboard Maestro for any situation you come up with. And finally, we looked at how you can utilize JW Lua with Keyboard Maestro to literally get the ultimate speed out of Finale. And really at this point, we've actually covered the three large goals for the course. We've learned how to create very useful macros, we've learned how to organize these macros in a meaningful and logical way, and we've learned how to leverage Keyboard Maestro for ultimate speed in Finale. And so what next? So in the next module, we're going to really start wrapping up the course. And I may have noticed that a lot of our macros are very short. That's because the shorter they are, the faster they run. And the longer the macro, the longer it takes to run. So we really want to get the macros as short as possible, because that's how we get the ultimate speed. However, there are cases where long macros are both necessary and extremely helpful. And so in the next module, we're going to look at a couple of those cases. And you're going to actually see a couple of my really long macros. And you may have also noticed that in the framework we've created for organizing the macros with the palettes, there's actually still a lot of room for many more macros. So I'm also going to show you a couple ideas for other macros you can use, and you also have a ton of space where you can create your own. But great work so far. You've learned a whole lot and you should be very excited right now. So great work, and I will see you in the next lesson.